I want to double down a little bit on this idea of how the experience of disability or inclusion may be different. Let's say one across urban and rural spaces, but second also across socioeconomic classes, right?
Yeah, I mean, surprisingly, there isn't much of a difference. Surprisingly. So, I mean, we always thought that because parents would be more educated, there'd be more acceptance, there would be, less challenges around. So, one of the biggest barrier that we see is all these babas and all these religious people that people go to every time there is a diversity in India, right? So every time, not I would say, every time there is a challenge, where we run to is like a god man, right? And that is also one of the biggest challenges in our space. But surprisingly, that happens even with educated parents. And we've had people, engineers who've had children with autism, and they're doing exactly the same thing because somebody promises them that the child will get healed. So, and spending crazy amount of money for things like that. And the same thing we're seeing in the rural areas. Yes, I think the generation now is a little more accepting. That change I'm seeing. But when we were working in the urban and rural earlier, we would still see the same kind of challenges, both places, in terms of acceptance, in terms of running to these godmen, trying to find a cure for the child. And it's not easy for a parent, right? Any parent, their entire life spins when they figure out that there is a child with disability in there, and they also don't know how to, they don't know what to do. So it's not something you come with manual, or somebody's there to guide you for it. You are figuring it out along your way. And the kind of challenges they face from the society are also extremely high, because everybody is like, bichara ye ho gaya, bichara wo ho gaya. Your mother would have done something. So you'll see a lot of broken families there, because the acceptance is, the relationships are broken. A lot of single mothers that you will see, the fathers have run away. So you'll see this very, very commonly in parents of children with special needs. And that's, I think, another common area, both in urban and rural. You will typically see mothers taking most of the responsibility, and the fathers not accepting that their child. So for them, it's almost like, I remember talking to a parent, he said, Mera bachcha aise ho hi nahi sakta. No, it's that ego. Yes, that's the ego. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, but I think at a social level, I still feel rural is far better than the urban. Far better. It's far more accepting. If you do awareness in rural areas, if you try and bring about, like Bujkawa, where now we have about 52 people doing livelihoods in that cluster. There is not a single person, whether it's a panchayat or anybody, who looks at them, who respects all of them, respects their families. The acceptance in that cluster has come up very beautifully, which we would never have seen in the space of education. Which is where the contrast between education and livelihood we really experience. That education is, because the children are growing up, because they still don't know what the future is going to be. It's still that phase is still something that will not lead to inclusion very quickly. Whereas in livelihood, the moment you see someone earning money, living dignified lives, earning a living, you will immediately see that shift
The
very
point of
quickly.
the point of that you make of how you are more than your disability, I
Yeah.
think it's easier to see once they have an alternate
Yes,
identity.
yes, exactly. Whereas in education, there is no alternate identity. So it's
And it's a linear scale of how well you're able to do academically.
exactly,
So,
which is never going to be hugely, the change is not going to be that huge. It's be a fraction of people who will do extremely well academically. But I think, which is why education livelihood, I feel the connection between education and livelihood is completely missing in our system. You think that education, better in education should lead to better livelihoods and employment. Clearly not. Yeah. So I think that was a big learning for us as an organization, especially somebody who's so rooted and has such strong belief that education can make a difference. I think realizing that both have their own path, and are unfortunately not connected is not is difficult.